Awakening from Slumber: The Seeds of Indian Nationalism. Written by Shashi Tharoor. This book delves deep into the origins and growth of Indian nationalism, tracing its roots back to the 19th century. The 19th century dawned on an India very different from what we know today. It was a land of immense diversity, with a rich tapestry of cultures, languages, and traditions. Ruled by the British East India Company, the Indian subcontinent, with its diverse cultures and languages, found itself under the control of a foreign power. The British, with their superior military and administrative skills, had established a firm grip over the land. This foreign rule, while initially welcomed by some for the stability it brought, soon revealed its exploitative nature. The British were more interested in extracting wealth than in the welfare of the Indian people. Economic policies favoured British industries at the cost of Indian ones. Traditional Indian crafts and industries, such as weaving, suffered immensely as British goods flooded the market. Traditional social structures were disrupted, and a sense of resentment began to simmer among the populace. The age-old systems that had held communities together were being eroded. It was in this crucible of discontent that the seeds of Indian nationalism were sown. Intellectuals, reformers, and common people alike began to question the legitimacy of British rule. The humiliation of foreign rule, coupled with a growing awareness of India's glorious past, ignited a spark in the hearts of its people. They began to dream of a future where India could once again be free and prosperous. This was not a sudden eruption, but a gradual awakening. Over time, more and more people began to see the British not as benevolent rulers, but as oppressors. A realization dawned that they were not merely disparate groups under a distant ruler, but a nation with a shared history, culture, and destiny. This sense of unity was crucial in the fight against colonial rule. This burgeoning sense of national identity found expression in various ways. Cultural events, rallies, and public meetings became platforms for expressing nationalist sentiments. Religious reform movements sought to cleanse Hinduism of social evils and instill a sense of pride in India's ancient heritage. Leaders like Raja Ram Mohan Roy and Swami Vivekananda played pivotal roles in this awakening. Literature, too, played a crucial role, with writers using their pens to articulate the aspirations and frustrations of a people yearning for freedom. Their works inspired many to join the nationalist cause. Newspapers, though censored, became platforms for nationalist voices to reach a wider audience. They spread the message of freedom and unity far and wide. The stage was set for a long and arduous struggle. The early protests and gatherings were just the beginning of a movement that would span decades. The journey towards independence would be fraught with challenges, but the spirit of nationalism, once ignited, would prove to be an indomitable force. Leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, and Subhas Chandra Bose would emerge to guide the nation. From the intellectuals who penned fiery editorials to the common man who felt the sting of oppression, a nation was slowly but surely awakening from its slumber. The collective consciousness of the people was stirring. The fight for freedom had begun. The seeds of nationalism had taken root, and there was no turning back. The dream of an independent India was now a shared vision driving the nation forward. Reformers and visionaries shaping the national consciousness. The nascent spirit of Indian nationalism found expression through the tireless efforts of social reformers and visionary thinkers who dedicated their lives to the cause. These individuals, deeply troubled by the social ills plaguing Indian society, recognized that true progress could only be achieved through a process of self-renewal and transformation. They understood that while political freedom was paramount, it had to be accompanied by a social and cultural renaissance that would uplift the entire nation. Raja Ram Mohan Roy, often hailed as the father of modern India, spearheaded a movement against social evils like sati and advocated for widow remarriage, challenging deeply entrenched traditions. He believed that education, especially for women, was crucial for India's progress and worked tirelessly to promote it. His Brahmo Samaj, a socio-religious reform movement, challenged orthodoxy and emphasized reason and rationality, seeking to modernize Indian society. Another towering figure was Rabindranath Tagore, a literary giant whose influence transcended national boundaries and left an indelible mark on Indian culture. Through his poems, songs, and novels, Tagore articulated the soul of India, celebrating its rich cultural heritage while also critiquing its social ills and envisioning a better future. He envisioned an India free from poverty, ignorance, and prejudice, where individuals could flourish in a spirit of unity and harmony, contributing to the nation's progress. These reformers and visionaries played a pivotal role in shaping the national consciousness, laying the foundation for future generations. They instilled a sense of pride in India's past while inspiring hope for a brighter future, encouraging people to strive for a better society. Their efforts laid the groundwork for the political struggle that lay ahead, providing a strong base for the fight for independence. By advocating for social justice, education, and a rational outlook, they helped create a fertile ground for the seeds of nationalism to take root and flourish, ultimately leading to a united and independent India. Voices of resistance: the rise of political organizations. As the 19th century progressed, the desire for greater autonomy within British India intensified. This desire manifested in the formation of various political organizations. These organizations, though differing in their ideologies and approaches, shared a common goal to secure a better future for Indians under British rule. The Indian National Congress, established in 1885, emerged as the most prominent voice of Indian nationalism. Initially envisioned as a platform for dialogue and petitioning the British government for reforms, the Indian National Congress gradually evolved into a powerful force, demanding greater Indian participation in governance. Leaders like Dadabhai Naoroji and Gopal Krishna Gokhale advocated for constitutional reforms and greater representation for Indians in legislative councils. Other political organizations, with varying degrees of influence, also emerged during this period. The Muslim League, founded in 1906, aimed to safeguard the interests of the Muslim community within the Indian polity. Regional parties, representing specific linguistic or ethnic groups, also gained prominence, advocating for greater autonomy and recognition within the larger framework of British India. The rise of these political organizations marked a significant shift in the nationalist movement. While social reform and intellectual awakening remained crucial, the focus now shifted towards organized political action. The demand for self-governance gained momentum, setting the stage for a more confrontational phase in India's struggle for independence. A nation mobilized. Movements that shook the empire. The early decades of the 20th century witnessed a surge in nationalist sentiment, leading to mass movements that challenged the very foundations of British rule in India. The fervor for independence was not just a fleeting moment, but a growing tide that swept across the nation, uniting people from various walks of life. These movements, characterized by widespread participation and a spirit of defiance, mobilized millions across the subcontinent, transforming the demand for independence from an elite aspiration into a mass movement. The streets of India echoed with the voices of those who yearned for freedom, and the collective will of the people became an unstoppable force. The Swadeshi movement, launched in 1905 in response to the partition of Bengal, marked an important turning point. It was a bold declaration of self-reliance and a direct challenge to British economic dominance. It called for the boycott of British goods and promoted indigenous industries, fostering a sense of self-reliance and economic nationalism. The movement encouraged Indians to take pride in their own products and to support local artisans and businesses. The movement witnessed widespread participation, cutting across religious and regional divides, and demonstrated the potent power of collective action. It was a testament to the unity and resilience of the Indian people, who stood together in their fight against colonial oppression. Mahatma Gandhi's arrival on the political scene in the 1920s infused the nationalist struggle with renewed vigor. His unique approach to resistance and his unwavering commitment to non-violence set him apart as a leader. His philosophy of satyagraha, based on non-violent resistance and civil disobedience, proved to be a powerful weapon against British imperialism. Gandhi's methods inspired countless individuals to join the cause, believing in the power of peaceful protest. Gandhi's leadership galvanized the Indian masses, drawing millions into the struggle for freedom. His ability to connect with people from all walks of life made him a unifying figure in the fight for independence. The non-cooperation movement of 1920 to 22 and the civil disobedience movement of the 1930s, both spearheaded by Gandhi, witnessed unprecedented levels of popular participation. These movements were marked by a series of boycotts, protests, and acts of civil disobedience that shook the foundations of British rule. From students boycotting schools and lawyers refusing to appear in British courts to ordinary citizens defying unjust laws and courting arrest, the Indian people, united under the banner of nationalism, demonstrated their unwavering resolve to break free from colonial shackles. The spirit of resistance was palpable, and the collective determination of the people was a force that the British could no longer ignore.